Hey, welcome to Bitcoin Math. My name is Shane. Today we're going to cover the Living a Bitcoin Standard Calculator. Now, if you've seen some of my other videos, you might have seen the Getting Started model that actually breaks down specific LTVs, collateral buffers, liquidation thresholds, things of that nature. It's a much more focused in, zoomed in approach. This is more high level. This is more if you're searching for the why, like why would I even consider that? What are the long-term implications? How does the math look, etc. This is a better video for you. So the big idea here is that converting all of your income into Bitcoin and getting exposed to Bitcoin's long-term appreciation could have economic benefits compared to, say, just getting your paychecks in cash and living a fiat lifestyle. And a lot of people ask me, well, what does that look like over a 20-year period? What does the math say and how does that all work? And that's really at the heart of this model, is to let you plug those numbers in and see for yourself. So what we're going to look at is the impact on your income if it was actually measured in Bitcoin value, meaning you convert all your income into Bitcoin. And then how does that look if you're borrowing your income each year and paying interest? So if you make $100,000 per year today, well, your new cost of living is going to be $10,000 if it costs you 10% to borrow that money, right? And that's what I've done personally. I convert all my income into Bitcoin, and I basically accept 10% premium to live the same lifestyle so that I can convert every penny that I earn into Bitcoin. Okay, because I believe the Bitcoin long-term growth will continue to be 20, 30, 40% over the next 5, 7, 10 years. And so I want to stack as much as I can. Okay, so pretty simple set of inputs here. What's your monthly net income from all the different sources that gets deposited into your bank every month? Let's say it's $10,000. Loan APR, what would you pay in interest to borrow your expenses to live your life each month? Let's make it easy and just say 10%. Salary increases each year. We want to model this correctly. So what do you think you're going to make in salary increases each year for the next 20 years? Say 3%. Inflation, this is a big one, right? So what do you think the annual inflation rate is going to be every year on average for the next 20 years? If you go with the CPI or associated data from the BLS, you might have a lower estimate here. If you're a Bitcoiner and you look at M2 money supply growth and the debasement rates, well, you might have a higher number here. I'm going to go higher number and put in 5%. Now, if you've never used my models before, the CAGR bar is what's going to determine the Bitcoin appreciation and performance over the term in the model. This model's 20 years, so for Bitcoin's CAGR, I'm going to set it at Saylor's bear case, 21%. Now, the first thing you're going to see here is this chart. Okay, and we've got three numbers that show up on the chart. Number one is your nominal income, meaning how much money do you get paid in dollars over time. Now remember, you're starting at a salary of $120,000, you make 10 grand a month, right? That's going to be here in this dark blue to perhaps black. I'm not sure, I might be colorblind, but anyway, that's the darker number. The orange number is your actual, more like your purchasing power after accounting for inflation each year. Now you can see at first the impact from inflation is less severe, but over time, what happens? Well, in year 15, your annual income is all the way up to $181,000. But because of the inflation rate, that $181,000 only buys you about $86,000 worth of stuff, right? So in this particular model, based on these numbers, your standard of living is going down over time. Even though you're earning 3% more per year, if you look here, right, your actual after inflation is 114. But by year 20, your actual after inflation has gone down to $78,000. That's because the rate of inflation is higher than the amount that you're generating an increase in your income. Now, what we have in the purple is what would happen, right? What's the Bitcoin value if you were converting all of your income into Bitcoin and it was appreciating at 21% per year, compounding annually. That's what you see in purple, right? So by year 20, the actual amount of money that you've made each year based on your Bitcoin stack is over $1.3 million. Okay? Now let's break down some of the math and kind of get into some of the details. So let's see here. Let me shrink this. Okay. So in year one, you're making 120 grand. After inflation, you can buy about $114,000 worth of stuff, right? Bitcoin price is 114. Because we're converting all of our income to Bitcoin, well, that year we bought 1.05 Bitcoin. Okay? So our total Bitcoin value after year one is roughly what we were paid through our salary. The amount of interest we accrued is $12,000, which means the loan amount we would need that year to live our lifestyle is $132,000. We need the interest, we have to pay the interest, and we have to borrow our salary of $120,000. Okay? Now jump to year two. You got that 3% raise, you're up to 123.6. It only buys you $112,000 worth of stuff due to inflation. And the Bitcoin price has gone up, right? So now Bitcoin's worth 138.5. You're only able to buy 0.89 Bitcoin, but your total stack is up to 1.94. So your total Bitcoin holdings is $269,000. But we now owe another year's worth of interest, plus we have to pay the interest on that first year. So the total interest here a little bit more than doubles, which means our annual loan amount is going to go up and our total aggregate loan amount has gone up. Okay? So that's how this model works over time. You're going to borrow the amount of money that you need that year, or that you're going to borrow your income that year. And you're also going to pay the continued growth in interest every year. So that's going to become a larger and larger number each year. So let's go down to year 10. You're now making $156,000 after inflation. Well, that 156 only buys you about $95,000 worth of stuff. Your standard of living is going down each year, unfortunately. But the Bitcoin price is up to $636,000. You're now accumulating 0.25 Bitcoin that year. Your stack is up to 5.64 Bitcoin now. Right? And that 5.64 Bitcoin is worth $3.6 million. Okay? Now, sure, you've got an aggregate running loan balance of $2 million, and that's a lot. But when you do the math, well, that puts you at a net BTC benefit, if you will, of about $1.5 million. And if we take that 1.5 and we divide it by the total number of years, well, it means you've now given yourself a $150,000 per year raise over the past 10 years just by doing this. Okay? Go down to year 20. Right? You're now making 210 grand. You're crushing it, right? But you can only buy about $78,000 worth of stuff because inflation continues to erode your purchasing power, and you've now lost over 63% of your purchasing power throughout this 20-year period. That's the bad news. The other bad news is Bitcoin has ripped. It's worth 4.2 million, which means your nominal income this year is only going to buy you 0.5 Bitcoin. Not that much. But you've stacked almost 7 Bitcoin. And that 7 Bitcoin is now worth $29 million. And sure, you've got $6.3 million in debt, and maybe you have to repay all of that right then and there, or maybe you've been paying it down over time. Either way, you've accumulated a pretty sizable amount of debt by doing this because you've been doing it for 20 years. But when you do the math, right, that still produces a close to $23 million net benefit by simply converting this income into Bitcoin. And when you divide that net benefit by the number of years in this period, 20, it's an annual salary increase of $1.13 million. Okay? And remember, this is doing the same job. right? You're going to the same place. You're probably reporting to the same boss. You're doing the same things that you may have otherwise been doing without this type of strategy. The difference is that you are converting your economic energy, your blood, your sweat, your tears that they pay you for. You are converting that into Bitcoin, and you are benefiting from the long-term growth and appreciation of that as your monetary asset and store of value, instead of dollars that have lost 63% of their purchasing power over this period. All right? So it's not rocket science, right? It's just mathematics, and we've tried to make some easy tools for anybody to use. Plug in your values, change the inputs, change the CAGR, right? You can tinker with everything here. It's meant to be dynamic. It changes on the fly. And if you have questions, we make it easy. Reach out, ask us questions, send us feedback. Let us know how we can make this better. You can follow us on X as well, bitcoinmath.org. And with that, we appreciate your support, and we'll see you on the next one.